Hello and welcome to the Cat Collective. I'm Nina, I'm the channel for this channel, and today's reading is for Cancer, the last card. Already. Time flies by, right? So let's see what we have. Stranger, curiosity. Sky Dancer, surrender. And the joyful news, inspiration. And deep diving. Diving into a task. Bottom of the deck. Let's see. Art card didn't come up for a while. The weird banana. The weird banana is often in readings. Oh yeah. Oh, and the void. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, so it seems to me that something has sparked your inspiration. Oh, maybe you are looking for inspiration. That's what I'm getting more. It's this stranger curiosity. You know, so I'm getting, you know, with the art card, it's really a bit business-like almost, you know. It's this trying to find inspiration to continue with your work. But it seems to me that you have struggles to find inspiration to continue with your work, even if it's art, right? You know, even if you already are in a position that a lot of people would like to have, regarding maybe you are already in a position where you are able to live from your art. It gets, at a certain point, it reaches its high, and then you struggle to persist and to continue and to find inspiration, you know. And then you find different ways to get inspiration, and even those ways, they might not be fully made use of, because it has been the wrong way. I'm getting that the way you try to find inspiration hasn't been the right way, in a way. Why is the way? Is there something about this? It's light and dark, you know, and magic. I'm getting that what you try to achieve with having I don't know how you managed to get inspiration, but I'm getting also that the way you were doing it was maybe first perceived as very light, but it turned into a bit of darkness also. Because being an artist doesn't just mean that you are inspired by life and just create, you know, and it doesn't also mean, you know, art is an expression that goes deeper than just a drawing. That's what a lot of people don't see, and that's what only artists have insight of, that art is much more than just a drawing. It's an expression of your own soul, you know. That's what I'm getting. The surrender card, and also with the spirit. And it also leaves the artist in a very weird banana position, right? And what I'm getting with this house card also, it's a very lonesome place to be in, you know, to be an artist of some sorts, because the whole creation process is a very solitary one for most artists. There are always collaborations and things like that, but especially trying to put everything under one roof, that's what I'm getting with this, is the hardest part. These days you cannot just be an artist and live this completely. You also have to, or that's what you also put under your roof, is how to sell your art and how to make the art interesting for other people. And then your own soul expression gets muddied. It gets dirty and that's also taking away the fun of art, because once you just do it, also, there can be a very fine line between living your soul, the star, and trying to build your foundation, which like the pyramid is the most stable structure, right? And that's, even though a lot of people would like to be where you are at now, it's just something that I got. It's this, there's a very fine line between your own soul expression and wanting to please others. And that's also keeping you in a very weird position, because not many people can understand what you go through. Because no creator actually wants to create based on money, right? We just want to express our deepest insights in some way, and maybe it was like that for you in the beginning, but it seems to me that the more success came, the more you had to switch the position between this is my own personal expression to becoming almost a salesperson for your own artwork, right? And then you try to please others, and what I would say is even the worst for an artist that is so free-spirited, right? With the spirit card, there's no line around this spirit, but as soon as you have developed a certain way, a certain path, a certain style, a certain, as soon as you have created your own path, that's also holding you in this path, right? And I think that's where your problem is at the moment. It's this, I've created my path, I've created the way of being, and people are expecting me to do it in a certain way. And if I don't do it in a certain way, then they will not like it, and therefore you are very shy about evolving as an artist, because you are putting your own personal expression aside, and you are way more in the head about what do people want, what can you do so maybe more people can come in, what can you do to please the audience almost, and this has made you lost your, this is where the light turned to darkness, because that's the dark side, and you want to return to your magic, and you have tried to implement a lot of ways to be creative, but maybe you would like to change something up, because the current path, when you have developed a certain art style, like this, let's say all the drawings look like this a bit. How can you evolve, right? And you're feeling lost because in the beginning it was so much fun, and now it's just a chore. It's just something to make money with. And maybe you are not admitting this to yourself, that it hasn't become, that something that you used to enjoy is now not very enjoyable just because of the expectations of the people who are expecting you to do something in a certain way. You know, it can go in so many places. Maybe you started with drawing, but you would like to do painting or something like that, you know, but especially online, if you have developed a certain format, people will not particularly, you know, it's also something like in having the first album, and that the first album is very successful as a musician, you know, and then you develop you explore your music and your expression, and the second album might not sound exactly like the first, and people, you know, they like to stay in their comfort zone, and when you have developed a certain way of being or just expressing yourself, they expect that, and then you get criticism for your own evolution when you put out an album that people are not liking anymore, right? And I think that's also with you, you know, it's the art card is just an example, but it can go in every creative area once you have reached success, because we are not here to repeat everything over and over and over again, even though, well, if you think about life and how every pattern of life works, it seems there seems to be a repetition in everything, you know, from every day to day. There's always some sort of, it's from, you know, waking up and going to bed, that's already a repetition, but it goes also into relationships, you know, they start in a certain way and most of them end in a certain way. There might be slight varieties, but they are always in a certain way, and those patterns and everything. And artists, you know, they are artists because they get bored of those patterns, right? And I think you are at a place where you are too hesitant to change your pattern, because that's what you would need to continue your soul expression, to not feel like this is just another job, right? But also knowing that, or maybe just being fearful of that people might not like the way you are evolving to, you know, when you do want to do something completely different, and also publish that in certain ways. Because in the end, as an artist, you just also have to pay your bills, right? And therefore, I think you just got bored. That's the void, right? That's your soul expression that's empty. It was once filled with magic, and it still is somehow, but it has lost its spark. You try to implement different areas into this, but still, it's a hard way to do. As soon as you put money on it, right? And for me, today this reading is just an encouragement for you to surrender to your soul, to your spirit, because of the spirit card. Surrender to who you really are, and forget about what people like or don't like, you know. There will always be people who say how their early work was best, right? And if you try to please people, or just your wallet, will you be really happy? You know? There's a huge difference between commission work and free work, right? And there's a huge difference between free expression compared to a expression that you think needs to make others happy, right? You know, if you have an audience online, for example, you know, or just fans in general, you know. And it's not about making the fans happy in a way, it's making yourself happy. That's the point. And also maybe remembering the days when you were a bit more free like a star, you know, and how it got you there, you know. And when you are bored, your art gets boring too. And therefore, this change needs to occur. Otherwise, it will always be not what it was in the beginning. Because in the beginning, it was an honest and just, you know, it was an honest expression. And now you need to find different ways and maybe totally break out of what you are already doing, you know. Because this path, even though it's been walked on, you know, if you imagine a path in the snow, it's just, you know, the further you walk back and forth, the more often you do it, the path gets, you know, a certain way. And if you do something completely different from what you were doing right now, completely different, right? It's also a bit uncomfortable, you know? Your feet might get wet if you walk in the snow again, you know? But it's just something that we need as an artist to evolve, you know? And to be free and just to express. And even, you know, I'm getting that you're feeling caged in your own art, you know? It's this almost looks like I don't know if it's the right word in English, a bunker? Like you know, those... Or like, you know, those castles where you don't let anyone in, you know, it's this closed door, almost closed window, and don't let anyone in thing. And it's it's getting boring in the castle, and maybe the next step for you would be to just express how the dark side of all of this, even though a lot of people might not understand that. But putting it into a different format, in a totally different way. Also not the way you are doing it right now, but differently. You know? Just because the current path has been walked on so many times, it's also easier in your comfort zone to just go back to it. But sometimes we need also this breakout from the path to maybe find our way back to it, right? It's this diving into a task thing where you are diving deep into a different task, maybe. Because I think if you look at this, you are very deep into your current task already, and therefore you are not happy with the repetition and the boredom that you are experiencing. It becomes like every other day, you know? And it's important to find a different way and to find to just go somewhere else, maybe to also experience how much we like to come back home, right? It's also what I got. And you can apply this for art and music as well, you know, explore something else and then just come back home and realize, okay, you know, it's nice to be home, but you brought some additional inspiration in. Yeah, new beginnings. See, that's this diving deep, and if you compare it to the diving deep card that I just showed, it's she's not that deep in this task, you know. It's this she just, for me, this is the surface of the water. It's like she's just in, she's just diving in this water, and it's fresh and new, right? And that's what you sometimes just need to break out of. the day-to-day, because that's what we artists do. That's how creativity is also made, you know. And it's sometimes also not a way to, you know, it's not a very... Creativity also comes in when you don't use your head, when you don't overthink things, and when you have commissions and you have to do things in a certain way, you will, you know, always have to think. And when you have to, when you want to create a story or something like that, you always have to think. You know, there's so much cerebral work involved. And what you need at this point is just to make your hands dirty, you know? It's this, just get yourself a canvas and just smudge around with paint and just, you know, and you will surprise yourself how much you will like it and how much beauty you can create by accidents. Right? It's this it's this also getting out of the head, right? Because when we think the same thoughts every day also, they get also boring, and our whole life gets boring, and the whole way of being gets boring, and then we need to cope, and then we engage in coping mechanisms, and they might not be too healthy, but nonetheless, you know, we are just doing, well, you know, as soon as we are thinking, we are also not letting loose, we are controlling things, and you need a lack of control. You need to be more free because, you know, because of this card. That's what I'm getting. You know, there's no line around. There's no... This is what I've created just with my fingers, I think. I don't even remember anymore. It was just splashes, and I think I rubbed a bit on it, and there it was. Right? And when you are creating something for a specific outcome and to reach a specific goal and to, you know, just have something specific in mind, you will always be disappointed by your creation, because sometimes the best creation is just to create and do whatever, but you've lost it along the way because you walked you began to walk a certain path because you think that people want to see just this path. But, you know, it's not just about this path. It's also about encouraging people to break out of the rules, because art has no rules. You can declare everything as art. This reading is art. Everything can be art. You know? And it could be also very refreshing for people to see that you break out of this, you know? Because you came here to put your soul on the display for people to witness. And it's about you. Art is always a self-portrait. And it's a self-portrait if you give away yourself for others too, right? That's an expression of yourself, of your needs. You know, maybe you've done it to pay the bills, but maybe you've also done it to get recognition. But at some point, we also need to break free and let loose and not control our art, not control anything, and not have an outcome and not have a purpose, just have a pen or a brush or a guitar or whatnot, you know? Doesn't matter. Yeah, so I hope this reading was helpful. I feel guided to end it with a very controlled outcome. from the deck where every card has the same meaning, and the meaning is everything is going to be okay. Oh, speaking of, look at this art here and all the other artworks. Do you really think that I carefully drew this? It's funny because look at this. This whole deck is very controlled. You know, the meaning of this deck is very controlled. But the art in this deck is no control whatsoever. And what is this? Look at that. That was designed by the sun. Because I left this deck on the table like this during summer. And there's a huge window. And the sun shines so brightly that it burned the ink. And this card looked like this before. But then the sun created the art, you know? It's ever evolving. And should I now remove this card because the back looks different? No, it's still a part of this deck, but it's also a part of life, right? And what we always want is a controlled outcome, you know? That's why this deck was created, because we want the certainty that everything's going to be okay, that everyone will like our art, that that it will, yeah, just be great. But sometimes we just need to let loose, and that's why the whole deck was made. Because I didn't control it at all. And there are no mistakes. Do you think this art is bad? I think it's good art. It's my perspective. And every artwork is different, you know? Even though it's kind of the same style, but still. All those cards. Yeah, it's just for you to be inspired. Look at all the cards. Now you've looked at all of them. Right? Yeah, so. Hope it helped. Additional info is in the litter box below. And see you next time. Bye-bye.